cause of all of your suffering and illusion. This Nam has arisen to dissipate all of this avidya. Take shelter of Nam. Such truth given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. All of our acharyas are telling us this. Therefore, utsahan nishchayat dhairyat. Be enthusiastic. Understand this truth. Nishchayat. Be firmly convinced. Dhairyat. Be very patient and forbearing in your practices. Many challenges will come. Many obstacles will come. But be dhairyat. Fixed, firm, patient. Tat karma pravartanat. Do everything that the Shastras and the Acharyas are telling and demonstrating. Do that in your life. Tat karma pravartanat. Follow all the practices of bhakti. Sangatyagat. Give up all asat sangha, all bad association. It will contaminate you. Give that up. Asat sangha tyag e Vaishnav achar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the behavior of a Vaishnava is they completely give up asat sangha. What is asat? Those who are in the illusion of this world, thinking that they're this material body and they're going to enjoy their senses. These are asat sangha. Only associate with sat sangha. So, Sutsayan Nishchaya Dharet Tatat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga. Give up that type of association. And Sato Vritte. Sato Vritte, Prabhupada translated this as be very straightforward in your ordinary dealings. But there's a very vast and deep purport to that word. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written another book, which he explains each one of these principles with an entire article that he wrote in Bengali. Bhakti Aloka, it's called. Bhakti Aloka. Light on Bhakti. So, Sato Vritte also means follow the example. Adopt the example in your life that was shown by the previous acharyas. Live as they lived. Do as they've done. Follow their example and follow their instructions. That's called following in the footsteps. Sato Vritte. Sadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. By these 6, Bhakti becomes enhanced. So there's a formula. And we should continue as we progress in our attempt to follow this path of bhakti. We should continue to strive with enthusiasm and apply all of these principles. And then we will feel, as when you're eating food and you're hungry, you'll begin to feel these results. It is tangible and it is real. But we have to follow it. Srila Gurudev said, the nature of bhakti, when we say the nature of bhakti, he's talking about the nature of actual pure bhakti. The nature of it is full of ecstasy. Why? Why is bhakti full of ecstasy? Why is bhakti, by its very nature, full of ananda? Why? Because bhakti is composed of Ladini Shakti and Samvit Shakti. Ladini Shakti is the ecstasy, potency of Krishna. Ladini Shakti. What everybody's looking for, that is the essence of all ananda, is Ladini Shakti. And bhakti is composed of that, mixed with Samvit Shakti. Samvit is complete knowledge and consciousness. These are the 3 potencies of Krishna in the spiritual world. Ladini, Samvit, and Samdini Shakti. The existence potency of Krishna. Eternal existence. So Rupa Goswami describes that very clearly. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryamsu Samyabhak. He's in the next few pages of what we're reading in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, he will describe what is bhav. What is the attainment of bhav? Bhav is the actual arising in the heart of pure devotion, pure love for Krishna, bhav. In that stage, the devotee realizes Sandini. Sandini creates your swarup, your spiritual form in your heart. And it descends from the Goloka Vrindavan, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryamsu Samyavak. Like a ray of prem, like a ray of the sun, contains many particles in the rays. Surya Amshu. Amshu means particle in the Surya, in the sun ray. So, Prema Suryamshu, the sun of Prem, and that ray of Prem contains particles. Prema Suryamsu Samyabhak. Those particles are Ladini Shakti, Samvid Shakti. And Sandini Shakti is established in the heart of the devotee. I want to love Krishna eternally as his beloved, as his mother and father, as his friend. One of these particular moods, one of these bhavs will establish in the heart. Ruchi bis chitta mashrinya. And then the heart will become melted. Mashrinya means melt. Just like you have ice or ice cream, something hard, and it melts. Our heart will melt by ruchi bis. Different ruchis, different tastes of ecstasy in the service of Krishna. We will be relishing and tasting this. Ruchi bis chitta mashrinya. Kridaso bhava uchate. This is what will happen, and this is called bhav. Definition of bhav, given by Rupa Goswami. So, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. Gurudev very clearly explained this. That Shuddha Sattva means pure existence. Shuddha Sattva. In the transcendental world, everything is composed of Shuddha Sattva. Here in the material world, it's called Mishra Sattva. Mixed with what? The three modes of nature. Sattva gun, Rajagun, Tamagun. But there it's called Shuddha Sattva. And Shuddha Sattva Vishesh Atma means a very specific transformation of that Shuddha Sattva existence. And Srila Gurudev explained that this verse, and not Gurudev, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained that this verse is describing that when we desire intensely to have our relationship with Krishna, that greed, that lobha, that intense desire to have our relationship with Krishna, we will automatically become attracted to an eternal associate of Krishna who has that relationship in the spiritual world, in Goloka Vrindavan. And by our continual hearing about that personality and aspiring to serve Krishna in the same way, from the heart of that personality in the spiritual world, the rays of prem will shine down to our very place, our location here, because not limited by time and space. And those particle of a ray of that prem will shine in our heart. And that is called bhav. And that is our goal. That is our initial goal. That is called sadhya. Kriti sadhya, bhavet sadhya, bhava sa sadhana vida. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya, prakatyam hridi sadhyate. Here, Rupa Goswami, his definition is given. What is sadhana? What is the meaning of the word sadhana? Practicing, sadhana. Is this. Kriti sadhya, bhavet sadhya bhav sadhana vida. What is called sadhana means? That practice that you perform which brings about the manifestation of sadhya bhav. Sadhya bhav means your eternally perfected spiritual identity and function. Sadhya bhav. Nitya sadhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyate. Nitya siddhasya bhav means your eternally perfected mood of desiring to love and serve Krishna. Nitya sadhasya bhav. Nitya sadhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyate. When it establishes it in your heart, prakatyam, that is called sadhana. So our sadhana has to be aiming at arousing, at bringing this sadhya bhav, this eternally perfected desire to serve Krishna from our hearts. It has to arouse that. Then it's called sadhana. You see, real sadhana. Real sadhana. So our sadhana has to gradually become connected with the rag, the mood of the eternal associates of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. And that is called rag marg bhakti, the pathway of rag. Only by this can we attain the wealth that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give. Not by Vaidhi sadhana, not by the rules and regulations can it be attained. But it does not mean that we neglect Vaidhi sadhana, because if we do that, we'll never achieve the goal. Why? Because until one has attained greed, one must practice the regulative practice of bhakti. And when greed comes by good fortune, then one's faith is no longer ruled by the strong argument and logic of Shastra. Before that, one is dependent upon that. This is what Srila Gurudev is currently explaining. Okay. Yeah, wait, let me find this. So, he's saying, this is the distinctive point to be understood in this matter, is that upon hearing of the sweetness of the conjugal mood, or also the mood of other rasas, upon hearing of the sweetness of these moods displayed by Krishna's eternal associates in Braj Leela, one begins to think, this mood is possible for me also. One begins to think this. Yes, this mood is possible for me also. When this type of greed arises, one is no longer dependent on the reasonings of Shastra. As long as one is dependent upon the arguments of the scriptures, he has not obtained consummation of his greed. In other words, it should be understood from this that greed has not yet arisen in the sadhak. This is so because greed is never observed in anyone who is dependent on the reasonings of Shastra. Rather, by hearing about or seeing an enticing object, greed automatically arises to acquire it. Okay? So Srila Gurudev, very many times, he tried to explain this point in a very simple and understandable way, that just as a poor man who has no money, he walks by a sweet shop. In India they have displayed in glass cases many different types, rasgullas, and looks very attractive. He walks by and he sees that, and his mouth starts watering and his desire arises in his heart. I want to taste that rasgulla. But he has no money. Is he dependent upon the understanding that I have no money to become greedy to taste that? No. But if he's dependent upon that, he won't even allow himself to look in that direction. You see? When there is a spontaneous attraction to that, that is called greed. That's what Gurudev is saying. Rather, by hearing about or seeing an enticing object, greed automatically arises to acquire it. So we should understand, greed is not something that someone can imitate. Either you have it or you don't have it. And if you don't have it, then it will be clear that you're still dependent upon the reasonings of the Shastra to inspire you to perform bhakti. And that is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And that type of faith is called Shastra Avadaranamayi Shraddha. That your Shraddha, your faith in performing bhakti is based upon the rules and regulations of Shastra and the logic and argument given in Shastra. And also we read before that some fear is there, that if I don't do this, I'll go to hell. But when greed arises, one is no longer dependent upon that. And that is called Bhagavat Madhuryamayi Shraddha. No, Bhagavat Lila Madhuryamayi Shraddha. Bhagavat Lila Madhuryamayi Shraddha. That one now has a Shraddha that is very much attracted to the sweet pastimes of Krishna. And with his associates. Madhuryamayi means full of sweetness. Bhagavat Lila, pastimes of Krishna. So this is the basis of Rag Marg Bhakti. And as we just heard, Srila Gurudev said, upon hearing about the sweet exchanges of Krishna and his associates, one may start to think, oh, this is also possible for me. And this becomes the basis of the manifestation of actual greed, actual lobha. So we are hoping for this. Now, suppose someone has attained greed. Nonetheless, after the appearance of greed, when one inquires, oh, how may this irresistible Braj Bhav be obtained? Because now one wants to attain it. So now he inquires, so how may this irresistible Vraj Bhav mood be attained? So then, after this appearance, there is dependence upon the scriptures, because it is only in the scriptures and nowhere else that the method of obtaining this is written. Understand? So yes, you're not dependent upon the reasonings of Shastra, but you're still dependent upon Shastra, because that is where it is written. And the scripture from which this method may be known is Srimad Bhagavatam. For it has ascertained the method of Bhagavat Bhajan. So among the limbs of Bhajan, now we're talking about the limbs of bhajan. What kind of bhajan? Raganuga bhajan. Amongst the limbs there are 5. When someone now begins to practice, there are 5 limbs. They're called Tad Bhav Moy. First one is called Tad Bhav Moy. That means composed of bhav. Each one of these 5 is going to progressively get more distant from the bhav, the actual mood that is the devotee's desire to attain. That greed, he desires to attain a particular mood. So that mood is called tad bhav, his bhav. Tad bhav mai, one of the limbs of sadhana in the Raganuga Bhajan is called tad bhav mai because it is composed of the bhav itself. Okay, so it's called bhav mai. Then, one is called bhav sambandhi. Sambandhi, that word sambandha, relationship. Tad sambandhi, tad bhav sambandhi means it is related to the bhav. It has a very close relation to that bhav. It's not bhav mai, it's not composed of that bhav, but it has a very close relation to that bhav. So that's called bhav sambandhi. This will be clearly explained actually. But these are just the names being given. The next one is called tad bhav anukul. Anukul means favorable. So there are practices, sadhanas, which are favorable for the development of that bhav. So that's called tad bhav anukul. And there are some that are called tad bhav aviruddha. Aviruddha, it means they're like neutral. They're not opposed to the bhav, nor are they they're not neither opposed to nor incompatible with the bhav. Okay? So, aviruddha. They can exist. You can perform them. They're not opposed. They're not incompatible with that bhav. This is talking about the limbs of bhakti and how they are applied. And finally, bhav, tad bhav pratikul. Tad bhav pratikul means they're actually opposed to your bhav, so that you don't want to perform. Thus, Raganuga sadhana is seen to be of 5 types as explained below. So, for the remainder of this talk, I just want to go over these 5, and then we'll complete this class. It won't take very long. It's a short description given of each by Srila Gurudev. First one, bhavamoy. What is bhavamoy? What is bhavamoy? Composed of that bhav. Okay. Say this. Bhavamoy. Composed of the bhav.
Composed of the bhav.
Here's the explanation. The 4 primary relationships, dasya, sakya, vatsalya, madhurya, they're known as bhavamoy sadhana. Okay? When shravan, kirtan, hearing, chanting, and other such limbs of bhakti, when they become saturated with one of these bhavs, of dasya, sakya, and so on, when your hearing and chanting become saturated with that bhav, they nourish the future tree of the sadhak's praying. Understand? So that hearing and chanting is saturated with that mood, with that bhav that the devotee desires to attain. It nourishes the future tree of the sadhak's praying. Therefore, dasya, sakya, and so on are called bhavmoy sadhana. So when someone is performing hearing and chanting in the Vaidhi path, and someone is performing hearing and chanting in the Ragmarg bhakti path, their hearing and chanting is a gulf of difference. Srila Gurudev also told like this. So much difference, because it is bhavmoy. That hearing and chanting is saturated with that mood that one desires to attain. Second one, bhav sambandhi. Say, bhav sambandhi.
Bhav sambandhi.
That which is related to the bhav. That which is related to the bhav. So the limbs of bhakti, beginning from acceptance of the shelter of a spiritual master, that's the first step, to accept the shelter of spiritual master, and mantra japa, to begin chanting, japa mantra, hearing, chanting, remembering of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes appropriate for different periods of the day of dearest Sri Krishna and his beloved associates of Krishna, towards whom one has attraction, and rendering various services unto them. These are known as bhav sambandhi sadhana. The upadan karan, that means the material cause of bhav, is called bhav sambandhi. The material cause of bhav is called bhav sambandhi. That by which bhav attains maturity is called the material cause. Okay? So that's called upadan karan. Upadan karan means a cause for this bhav to be attained. So, when one is performing the different sadhanas that cause this bhav to be attained, that is called bhav sambandhi, as we just heard. Hearing, chanting, I'll read it again so you can grasp that. The limbs of bhakti, all the different limbs of bhakti, beginning from acceptance of the shelter of a spiritual master, mantra japa, hearing, chanting, remembering of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes appropriate for different periods of the day, because Krishna has his pastimes in different periods of the day. So you're doing this regarding Krishna's pastimes and his beloved associates, of whom Krishna has attraction, towards whom Krishna is attracted, and also rendering various services unto them, unto Krishna, unto Krishna's associates. These are known as bhav sambandhi sadhana. Bhav Sambandhi, related to your bhav. So the upadan karan, the material cause of bhav, is called bhav sambandhi. Okay? That by which bhav attains maturity is called the material cause. So if you want your bhav, your mood, to attain maturity, you will have to perform this bhav sambandhi sadhana. Bhav sambandhi sadhana, through which your bhav can attain maturity. Bhav is shaped and molded by various limbs of bhakti. So your desires, your moods are shaped and molded by these various limbs of bhakti, such as Guru Padashraya, taking shelter of the lotus feet of Guru, and so on. Therefore, the performance of these limbs is called Bhav Sambandhi Sadhana, that sadhana which is related to the Bhav. Okay? Bhav Anukul, third one. Bhav Anukul. That which is favorable towards the Bhav. So, now, in this category is the observance of Ekadashi, Janmastami, Kartik Vrat, the renunciation of sense pleasure and other austerities performed for the pleasure of Krishna, offering respect to Tulsi, the banyan tree, and others. All these limbs of bhakti performed with great eagerness to obtain one's cherished bhav, they are favorable to bhav. They're called bhav anukul. In other words, they are helpful for the attainment of bhav, and they are therefore known as bhav anukul sadhana. Fourth one, that's clear in itself. Fourth one, bhav aviruddha. Say, bhav aviruddha. That which is not opposed to one's bhav.
That which is not opposed to one's bhav.
So, wearing the remnants of flower garlands and other paraphernalia offered to the deity, stamping one's body with the syllables of Sri Harinam, offering obeisances, and other such limbs of bhakti are called bhav aviruddha sadhana. That which is not opposed to the attainment of one's bhav is bhav aviruddha. It is one's duty to carry out these limbs of bhakti. And finally, bhav pratikul. Bhav pratikul. That which is, how they said it again. Bhav pratikul. Tat bhav pratikul. Yeah, it is actually opposed to the bhav. So bhav pratikul, bhav pratikul, opposed to the bhav. Now what are they? We talked about it the other day. Mental assignment of different parts of the body to various deities is called nyas. Particular positions of intertwining the fingers, mudra. Meditation on Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka, and other such angas should be abandoned in Raganuga Bhakti because they are opposed to the attainment of one's desired bhav, bhav pratikul. Thus, according to one's eligibility, one is obligated to perform the limbs of bhakti according to one's eligibility, very important word here. Thus, according to one's eligibility, adhikar, one is obligated to perform the limbs of bhakti prescribed in the scriptures and to reject those which are forbidden. So, just to cite an example, a very famous example, there was in the very exalted holy place of all holy places, Sri Radha Kunda. Gurudev told this story, well-known story. In recent times even, it was not too long ago, within the last couple hundred years. Because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually told this story. So there was a very, very sincere and very devout sadhak, practitioner of bhakti, living in Radha Kunda. And in Radha Kunda, he was associating with very exalted, pure Vaishnavas who were completely fixed in what? Radha Dasyam. The desire to attain the ultimate goal of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, to attain service to the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. That is a very esoteric subject. And Raghunath Das Goswami has written Vilapa Kushumanjali to clearly show the bhav, the moods of such Vaishnavas. So it is a very, very exclusive group of persons whom this Vaishnava was associating with.